Troy, how far are you into production before you go into post and start putting the story together?
It varies on the type of show that you're doing. There are shows that shoot an episode to a format in just 2 or 3 days, and there are docuseries, docusoaps where you're in the field for a total of 4 months, 5 months shooting a show. Typically, what will happen on a docuseries or a docusoap is you'll shoot for 3 or 4 weeks in the field just to get a feel for what's happening, to get your cast used to the camera. And when you start seeing story come together, that's when it's time to go back to post. So usually it's a few weeks after you've started production. At a minimum, maybe 2 weeks, and then at the most you'd want to wait maybe 4 or 5. What that enables us to do is to go back to post and start putting the stories together to see if the stories that we're following are really holding water based on the content that we've got. If something's not working out, there's still time to call the field and say, listen, this story is dead because everybody is very low energy when they talk about it. I don't feel that there's any real interest there. We've got to dig something else out of them. But again, just that short lead, just maybe 2 to 4 weeks of shooting in the field before you get to post is helpful.
So if there is a story idea, let's suppose a couple is going to have dinner.
Mm-hmm.
How much is something really structured? Is it going to be where, great, they're going to have dinner, but little things will happen that are going to be unexpected? I mean, how much
Sure.
are you actually really crafting that story?
Well, reality television, this is the thing, is I always say story is story and story is written. When you're going in, if I have a dinner scene, I'm following you to dinner, but I might say at the beginning of it, listen, over the course of this dinner, would you mind talking about what happened on Thursday and where you think that's going to go? And also, if you have any plans coming up in the next 2 or 3 weeks, can you just discuss the things that are coming up so that we can make sure that we have a starting point for the things that are coming up? And it's very organic and very natural, and someone just says, oh yeah, we got to talk about this. So we're thinking about going out to the cabin next weekend. I don't know if you want to come with us. It starts a lot of conversation that leads somewhere. Two people hanging out together very often have a lot of non sequitur conversation that isn't always useful. So if you have a couple of objectives for every scene, it's a little bit different than saying, I'm going to put these words in your mouth, say this thing I'm telling you to say, but you definitely need to seed it in order to be able to get useful content back a lot of the time.
So you're giving them an idea, and then those people, whoever they are with their personality, and they're bringing it up in their own manner.
Correct.
Okay, interesting. And then you also talk about sort of walk-ins and walk-offs. Can you talk about how you orchestrate those and where you need them?
Well, I'll tell you, anytime that you're in a new location, especially if it's a place that you're not normally at, take a little bit of time, even if you don't think you'll use it in post, to shoot a walk-up, a person arriving at that location and going in. And also when a person leaves, make sure that you track them to the door. You can find natural in and out points during conversations and interactions. I much prefer those to the walk-ins and walk-outs. But as surely as you don't shoot it, you're going to wish you had it, because sometimes something has to be explained. Like, I was very upset with Jennifer and I didn't know what I was going to say to her, but I just knew as soon as I got to the restaurant that I had to do something. Just so we know what's going to happen in the scene. Any setup that you need for a scene has to play over something. And a person walking up and grabbing the door handle of the restaurant is the easiest thing in the world to shoot, and it gives you enough time that you have an interview bite that you can play against that to set up your scene before something actually starts.
How many times has this happened where you have a story idea, you have two people carrying it out, and it takes in a totally different direction, or does that happen all the time?
It happens all the time. When you go out into the field with a plan, you're inviting the universe to say, fine, you have a plan, here's something else. You can't predict human interaction accurately. You can imagine what's going to happen. When you go out in the field, a lot of the time you'll have a plan for the week, and you'll say, well, Monday we're going to go here, Tuesday we're going to do this, Thursday we're going to do this. You have a light idea of what people should be talking about and what's moving forward. And as sure as you do that, someone's going to say, my daughter's getting ready to drop out of college. I got to get on the phone with her and talk about it. It's not anything you ever imagined you were going to talk about. And it's not something that you saw as a story. But this is the other reason why, when you are in the field, You need to be able to adapt and be able to follow the stories that are really happening in addition to or in place of whatever the plans are that you had. The best stuff is the stuff that you don't expect. It's always better if you don't expect it.